Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Leanna. Today we are talking about the weird and wonderful world of searching, because honestly it's driving me right round the bend. It is almost impossible to sometimes find an item that you want to comp search. So if this is the kind of content that you like, don't forget to subscribe. We're going to hop right in. And I'm going to say, honestly, I did not think I had a problem with my search until last week. My search was doing well. I would put in anthropology purple dress, and that's all that would come up was anthropology purple dresses. It was fantastic. There were some, like yellow and purple dresses, because that happens as well, because when you search for something, it takes each individual word and brings up all the search results. But I was not having a hard time finding comps. It was really, really good. And sometimes if I couldn't find it on Poshmark, I would search on eBay. So I was having both of them, and I actually put in Google into that sort of rotation, because sometimes eBay wouldn't work properly or Poshmark wasn't working properly, and I really wanted to get a good grasp before I bought an item. So I was searching and finding things. I was not having a huge problem. But I noticed a few things. Number one, other people would talk about promoted closets, because it's the big thing right now. We're all talking about it. We want to know if it's going to work. It's still in beta. I haven't heard too much about it. And what I have heard, nobody's really loving it. But on Instagram and Facebook groups, other YouTubers were finding these promoted listings. And I was like, I really want to see one. I want to see what it looks like. I just want to experience it for some reason. And you know what? I've searched on my phone on PoshUS. I searched on my computer on PoshUS. Nothing. No promoted listings were coming up. What? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yet I was using exactly the same words as other people had used, and nothing was coming up. And I was like, oh, interesting. So then Paul and I talked about it, and he said, well, maybe it's because the computer knows you're based in Canada. Try my computer, put the Nord on, the Nord VPN, say you're in the United States, and see if they come up then. So I did that, thinking, yeah, that's actually makes a lot of sense, so we'll find out. I went onto his computer, I did that, made sure the VPN was on the United States. Still, no promoted listings. So for all of you out there, I don't know. I mean, I'm not finding promoted listings at all, and I don't know why. So that's number one that sort of made me go, oh, interesting. The next thing that came up is I bought this there was 2 bracelets and a necklace, and it was really cute. They have little fishies on them. I think they're really cute. And I bought them for a couple of reasons. Number one, they were inexpensive, and I thought they were interesting enough. And I figured if they didn't get sold, that I could just wear them because I did really like them. So fine, I'll actually put a picture up if I remember. They're not listed yet because of the problem I'm having searching for them. So they're a brand called Perch, P-E-R-C-H, like a bird on a perch, because the logo is a little bird on a twig. It's really cute. Anyway, I didn't comp search them in the store because I liked them to begin with. So I came home to list them, and I wanted to do the comp searches. I put into PoshUS or Posh Canada, I forget which one, Perch, and then I filtered it to women's jewelry. Nothing, not one listing whatsoever. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Okay, fine. I didn't do it on eBay for some reason. I actually went right to Google because I figured I'm not wasting time. I went into Google and I put in Perch women's jewelry, and lots of images came up. Fantastic. One of the images was for one of those sort of general Poshmark categories. They said all women's sort of Perch jewelry. So I click on that, and there's 2 or 3 pages of listings for Perch jewelry. So I'm like, okay, so it's showing up on Google, but it didn't show up on Poshmark. So I went to PoshUS because these listings were on PoshUS, and I put in exactly what was said in Google. Perch women's jewelry. Not one listing showed up. Not one. And yet it's on Google, and I can access those listings from Google, but I couldn't access them from Poshmark US. Like, what the heck? Why? I thought, okay, what's going on here? So I went to Google, back to Google, went to the listings, looked at the person's closet. I typed their closet name into Poshmark, brought up the closet, and searched their closet and found the listing. Which is like, okay, why? So I have the screen up and I've got their listing right in front of me. I go back up to the search in Poshmark, knowing that there's like 2 or 3 pages of this brand in Poshmark US. And I put it in again, Perch Women's Jewelry. And the only listing that showed up was the one I was actually looking at. So I don't know why that was happening. I do know that perhaps it's just an obscure brand, but it still doesn't make any sense that it's on Google like that and you can't find it on Poshmark. So I don't know. We're going to get to what I'm going to do about it in a second. But the last thing that happened that made me realize that it's like I'm still having issues with search is I went to do a comp search on the Ron White shoes that I was in my haul on Friday. I wanted to look at the sold comps because I'm listing them and I want to price them properly. So I go into Ron White, I filter by women and shoes because that's what I wanted to do. And I saw the whole bunch of listings, great. I filtered it to sold. And I scrolled just a couple down. I was down like around the 15 listing mark. And there's a Disney shirt. And I'm like, why is there a Disney shirt in my sold comps for Ron White shoes? So I clicked on the listing. Because, some sellers will put a whole bunch of keywords down at the bottom of their listings in hopes that it will drive traffic to that listing. And sometimes, those keywords have absolutely nothing to do with that listing. So I thought maybe that's what happened. So I went into the listing and everything was fine. It was Disney. She didn't have a bunch of keywords. Everything was fine. This is in the solds as well. But the very bottom, the very last line in the listing, which should have said tons of life left, said Ron's of life left. So the search picked up on that Ron and put it into my results, which was like, it shouldn't still be up where it was, because unless it was just shared, because I know that my default is just shared. And I think my first thing that I'm going to do to try to fix this is when I do a comp search is to switch that default from just shared to relevance. I think that will help a lot to weed out those listings that don't really belong. Hopefully, maybe, I don't know. This is the whole problem, is that I'm going to try all these things and I have absolutely no clue if they're going to work. So getting back to the fish jewelry that I got, I want people to be able to find it, because if they can't find it, they can't buy it. It's all great to find it on Google, but I also need to add in other words, other keywords that are going to make the search pop this result up so people can see it. Because I think when people see it, they will like it and think it's really cool and then perhaps buy it. So now I have to work on keywords in order to get this listing sold, or at least seen. If it doesn't sell, I get to keep it. So anyway, so I am now in the process of figuring out all these different keywords for different types of items, and I'm going to have a keyboard shortcut in my phone, or I'm going to have a separate sort of document on the computer where I can just cut and paste all these keywords into the bottom of my listing, because honestly, I think it really does help. But now I got to sit down and think all these keywords for different types of items. I did do one today for boho jewelry. That's one. The fishes aren't really boho, so that wouldn't go with it. By doing this, though, I will absolutely make sure that each word really does go with that listing. I'm not going to put Anthropology, Aritzia, Lululemon down in my keywords when they have absolutely nothing to do with the listing. That screws up the search results as well. So sellers, if you're out there doing that because you figure it's going to get your listing seen, okay, fine. But just realize that you are messing up search results for everyone, including buyers. So buyers are going to get frustrated as well with that. I know that as a buyer, I would, if I was looking for a specific Anthropology piece and George kept popping up, I wouldn't like it whatsoever. So what else am I going to do? I'm looking at my notes because that's what I do when I do a video. I'm going to switch to relevance when I'm doing my comps. I'm going to add all those keywords at the bottom. I am going to make sure that I think like a buyer. And this is a hard one because I've been selling now for 4 years and I've sort of forgotten how to think like a buyer, because most of the buyers, I feel, most of the buyers on Poshmark are just buyers. They're not sellers. And sellers know about filters and they know about keywords and they know about, how to fix the sizes and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think buyers really do. And if I think like a buyer, how am I going to describe my items? And I want to make sure that those keywords are in the title, in the description, because I think that will really help a lot. So thinking like a buyer is going to be an experiment because, like I said, it's been a long time since I've actually searched with no knowledge of how to search, in a sense. As a seller, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with Google searches if I don't find something on Poshmark or on eBay, I definitely will count on Google to at least direct me in some sort of direction to find the items that I need to find in order to figure out whether or not they're worth buying. So, is the search broken? It's kind of weird. I don't know if broken is the right word. It is definitely strange and not so wonderful because it's frustrating. But there is some consolation knowing that it's sort of happening across the board. It's happening on eBay, it's happening on Poshmark Canada, it's happening on Posh US, it's even happening on Google to a certain degree. So it's not just Posh centered, it also happens on eBay as well. So there's a little bit of consolation in that, a little bit, even though I really do hope they fix whatever it is. I mean, I expect when I go in to a search engine and I type in, what have I typed in lately? I typed in nice places to have lunch on the water. That's what I typed in. And I expect all those restaurants to come up that are in that specific area that I mentioned. That's what I expect. If I type in Anthropologie purple dress, that's what I expect to see. Is that hard? How hard is that? I don't understand any of the other stuff. Once in a while, yeah, you're going to get that odd listing in there where the seller has added Anthropologie to a George listing. But you know what? One listing is not going to mess it up too much. But it is hard when you go to search an Anthropologie purple dress and every other listing is not Anthropologie. So I don't want it to get to that. Anyway, that is it for today. It is Tuesday. It is my anniversary today. So we are going out for a nice lunch on the water, which is nice. I'm excited about doing that. This is going to be uploaded later, so I hope you enjoy it. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about the search results you're getting and what you're doing to maybe help them along so that you can still do your business as well as you can. So that is it. I'll be back on Friday. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do, but it'll be fun. So if you want to see it, don't forget to subscribe and have a great week. Bye, guys.